What's up guys, Rogue9 here. Yesterday EA Games gave their E3 press conference, and in this video I want to discuss with you the highlights of this 2.5-hour show. What is the most important news that you need to know about current and upcoming EA games? Stick around to find out. Easily the largest part of the show was devoted to Anthem, a third-person action shooter/RPG, developed by BioWare. If I had to compare it to any other game, I'd probably say it's quite close to Destiny or The Division. Every individual player has access to their own hub world where they will experience the story elements, but then once they go out on missions, they can team up with several other players. The game was originally presented at last year's E3 and was supposed to be released in late 2018, but this release date has now been pushed back to the end of February 2019. This delay was announced after the Battlefront 2 loot box disaster and is probably connected to the topic, but the good news is that Anthem will not have any loot boxes or any pay-to-win progression. Gear and weapon customizations will be earned through gameplay, and of course players will be able to personalize their exoskeleton power armor with plenty of optional cosmetics. These suits of power armor are called javelins, and in the game you will have access to 4 different types which you can choose from depending on your mission type and the loadout of your teammates. Your choices of javelin will comprise the Ranger, a generalist class, the Colossus, sort of a tank class with very heavy weapons, and also the Interceptor and Storm classes, which have not really been defined yet. We still don't know what these will be specialized in. BioWare and EA have already announced ongoing support for the game, with new storylines and new missions being added as time goes by. For me personally, this is definitely a game I'm looking forward to. I really liked playing The Division, and judging by the few early snippets of gameplay that we've been able to see and the description, it seems that BioWare are looking to deliver a very solid entry in this sort of multiplayer co-op RPG genre. Another piece of news that was only really kind of teased but is really exciting for me is that Respawn Entertainment, the developers behind Titanfall and Titanfall 2, are working on a Star Wars project. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is set for release in 2019 and is going to be set between episode 3 and 4 of the movie franchise. So the entire setting of this game is going to be focused on the downfall of the Jedi Order, which begins at the end of episode 3. Other than that, we sadly don't know an awful lot yet. Is this going to be a mostly multiplayer game with some single-player elements? Is it going to be multiplayer only or single-player only? Third-person, first-person, RPG-style game, action game? We just don't really know at this stage. Heading up the project is Respawn Entertainment CEO Vince Zampella, who is a former CEO and co-founder of Infinity Ward. This guy brings a lot of experience to the table, and I really hope he does well because I really want another good Star Wars game. And speaking of Star Wars, there was also a lot of news about Battlefront 2. After a rocky start to the game, the progression system has been revamped, and in yesterday's presentation, EA DICE set out a whole bunch of new content coming to the game soon. First up, there will be additions that tie into the new Han Solo movie, then there will be an added starfighter mode with new hero ships, a large-scale multiplayer sandbox experience where the goal is to take over command posts or destroy capital ships. There will be multiple new maps focused on the Clone Wars, featuring the planet Geonosis, General Grievous, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku, and Anakin as new heroes and villains. And of course, all of this new stuff will be great news for everyone who's still playing the game, but I think the most interesting thing is that there is a new squad system coming to the game this summer. Those of you who watched my initial review of the beta for Battlefront 2 will remember that one of the key points that I was unhappy with is that there was no real squad system. You kept respawning with random players rather than the people who are in your party. And in my personal opinion, for a multiplayer game such as Battlefront or Battlefield to have long-term value, I need to be able to play it together with my friends. I need to be able to cooperate with them closely, and that is something that was really missing from Battlefront on launch, but the good news is it's finally coming. Will all of these additions make the game an awful lot better? Yes, definitely. Will it be enough to revitalize a game that had such a troubled start? I guess we'll have to wait and see. And that was almost it for my personal highlights from this presentation. And before I close everything off with some news about Battlefield, let me just name a few of these smaller announcements that were also made yesterday. Unravel 2 is now out. Great news for all of you Unraveled fans. Then there's a Command & Conquer mobile game. Madden is finally coming back to PC. The new FIFA game is going to feature a whole bunch of Champions League stuff and World Cup content. And they also announced a new game called Sea of Solitude, which is kind of like a third-person adventure game that pits the player against overwhelming loneliness. Now that sounds like a ton of fun. All joking aside though, the game did look quite pretty, and having a serious undertone is maybe quite an interesting thing to explore. And finally, last but not least, they did also talk about Battlefield 5. A lot of the information they presented wasn't really new. They showed off some of the mechanics a little bit, including the building destruction, which will be more detailed now than ever before. But the most significant piece of new information that we were given is that there will be a Battlefield 5 Battle Royale mode. And what can I really say about this? Yes, PUBG started off the trend really. I mean, we've had games before then, but PUBG was the first great big success. And then Fortnite came along and made that even better by finally kind of providing a gameplay experience that was sort of one of a finished product. I mean, PUBG, I like playing it, but it still feels like a work in progress. It still feels like it's early access. And of course, when you have a brand new genre that is a real hit, everyone wants a piece of that pie, so I guess I can't really blame developers for trying to jump on the bandwagon. For me personally, this news about Battlefield 5 is neither positive nor negative. I don't really care all that much that this mode is going to be included. It's definitely not going to make me want to buy the game more. But on the other hand, finally having a Battle Royale game with sort of AAA polish could be great fun, and if it brings more people into the Battlefield community, so much the better. And there you have it, my highlights from the E3 announcements made by EA for current and future games. Which of this news is the most interesting to you? Leave your comments below. One last thing before I leave you, I am now streaming on Twitch. So if you're interested in hanging out live, swing by twitch.tv/rogue9 and leave a follow. And with that, thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode.